Hello everyone, hello and welcome. This is Sherry and this is Truth Talk, and we're here today to see what comes out in our reading, what mask might be discovered today. When I pulled the cards, it came out as really interesting and fascinating. So to start us out, we have the Four of Wands, which is the same card that came out yesterday in the same mask position. But interesting enough, there is this, it's all about, when it comes to tarot, it's all about the cards that are coming out around, how the cards come out together, because that's what tells the story. And that's why I actually do, before I sit down to do these readings, I pull the initial cards so that I can get a good understanding of the message that's wanting to come through, so that I can at least kind of guide the reading, and then we'll use some clarification to see if that reinforces what I'm already saying, or whether it brings something new to the table that maybe I didn't see before when I was meditating on the cards. So what I'm actually getting here is this with the Four of Wands today. Yesterday it was I think it was the Mask of the Familiar is what I ended up naming that mask, because it was more about wanting to be in your comfort zone, or struggling to get outside of your comfort zone. Well, with this today, with it still being the Four of Wands, what's coming through, and we'll see this with the other cards as we bring them forward here, but it's really about wanting to connect, or feeling the need or desire to, it's more about like impulsivity, like having fun or connecting, or there's this desire to connect with other people, because you see these two people, these two gentlemen on here. I believe it's two gentlemen, but they're sitting there having, like they're both smiling. It looks like they're laughing. It looks like they're having a really good time, just really like playful fun. It's wand energy. Wand is very passionate. Although the Four of Wands is typically about stability, it is also like a coming together and a union of things, building on a solid foundation. It can be a card of like, can talk about marriage in a sense of, like that coming together and celebrating something. So I feel like there's this desire within us to celebrate something. So the mask kind of comes in this, I feel like it's going to be hard to name this one. I'm going to have to probably do a little bit of thinking after this. I always have to come up with the name afterwards, after I really contemplate what messages came out in the reading, when it's said and done. But what we're talking, I'm just going to unravel the story here for you. So that kind of sets the stage. We're setting the stage for the mask. So then in the second position in my spread, and if you're not familiar with my spread, it is on my community page, so you can go out and look on the community page. If you're not sure, how I do these readings, it's 6 positions. And so the second position, we have Temperance, and the second position is the mirror. It's what's being mirrored back to us, or what is being reflected back to us at this time, from the external world. So you think about, so the first position is what basically why we're here today. The second position is all about what in the external world is influencing us internally that may be causing us to act out this mask. So what externally is influences, I get with the Temperance card that you might be seeing a lot of people around you, like maybe they're posting on social media that their life is good, and so you're seeing, people look like they're okay and they're doing okay with life, where maybe you're struggling a little bit at this moment, and you feel like, why am I struggling when it seems like everybody else is doing fine? Or why am I challenged or having these challenges or difficulties, when it seems like everybody else's life is going okay, or they're doing okay? Well, come to tell you, most people don't don't post things, the negative things on social media. Everybody's got stuff going on. It's just to the degree whether they want to share it or not. So keep that in mind. You're not alone. Like if you're going through stuff, everybody's going through stuff all the time. It's just to the degree how much they want to share what's going on. And also it has a lot to do with how you handle things. I think that's a big part of it, how you've learned to handle or cope with certain things. So we're going to get some clarifications here. I didn't get a clarification on the mask. I think we'll start there and kind of backtrack a little bit. So interesting enough, we have meditation coming out. And this is actually going to be a reoccurring theme as we go forward in this reading, and you'll see this because this really, what came out in all of these cards and all of these positions was this need to think before we act is really, there's this impulsivity that's coming through very strongly in the cards today, where there might feel like there's this need to do something impulsively or act impulsively, and everything's saying, you know, like, that's probably not the best idea. So we have meditation coming out on the Four of Wands. And then for temperance, we have manifestation. Interesting. Oh, and that's a black cat. I didn't even know. I almost didn't catch that. It's interesting. I'm finding it interesting that these two cards have similar color tones. It's oranges and yellows, these yellow and orange tones, which kind of talk to me about the sacral chakra, maybe a little bit of the root chakra as well. So there's this, and this is something that's been coming up a lot recently, or this week in the readings. It's kind of a little bit of a underlying sub note is that maybe a lot of people at this time need to find ways to ground their energy. They might be maybe a little bit up in their head, a little bit too much this week. If that resonates for you, then go get a glass of water, or go find something to eat, or if you can go out in nature and go, you know, touch your bare feet to the ground, that's always a good way to ground your energy. That's the preferred way to go ground your energy, but you can do things like take a bath or drink some water, eat some food, something like that. It's something to bring you into the present, out of your mind and into your present, into your body. And that's what grounding is all about, if you're not familiar with grounding. So we have be yourself. Be yourself. And so with this card, the Be Yourself card here, I really am picking up with what we've been talking about. Again, we have these orange and yellows and reds, these very, there's a lot of wand energy. You'll see this coming out. There's a lot of wand energy, and we have a lot of these fiery colors coming through. And I feel like there's, again, it's almost like this need to be grounded, but it says, if you can see that, it says, be yourself. So what's coming through here is we want to be careful that, because like I said, there's a lot of this desire to be impulsive at this time, to do something impulsively, like make something happen. And that came through a little bit yesterday, because there was the Fool card and the Emperor. There was these cards of like really taking action. And then we have today, on the heels of that, the next day, like this impulsivity, like we might not be thinking something all the way through, especially with the Temperance card coming out, that it's being reflected to us that maybe we need to be a little more patient at this time, or that's because that's the lesson that's being reflected back to us. What's the repeating message from the external to our internal self of what is, you know, what we should be focusing on this time. And so there's this kind of like finding balance, finding grounding, finding peace, getting out of our mind and more into our body, being a little more present, you know, maybe not worrying so much about things, not feeling rushed to act. because maybe you're feeling like you have FOMO, fear of missing out on something. And so there's something that's driving the mask here, is that there's something that within us that is driving us to want to act impulsively. And so that's what I have to figure out the name of the mask, but underlying, basically that's the mask. So when it comes to masks, and if you're not familiar with masks, everything can be a mask. Roles that we take on when we identify with a role, that is a mask that we're wearing because we're identifying with it. So it basically, all a mask is something we're identifying with. We can identify with a role, a position, like a title of a job. We can identify with a value or a belief system, or something to that effect. It's what we everything in our life that we identify with. And right now, there's a lot of things about identities. That's a big thing right now. And what it is just those folks are wanting to claim and be loud about this is who I am. And when you're taking on those identities and different stereotypes, or identifying with something, a belief or a value, or saying I am for this, I believe in this and I'm for this, you're standing up for who you are. Be yourself. You're standing up and telling the world, this is who I am, this is who I want to be. And that's what these readings are all about. It's really about helping you find who you are, because sometimes who we are, we think we want to be, but then we dig down a little bit deeper, and we realize that maybe some of the identities or the roles or the beliefs or the values that we have taken on are actually hindering us, that they're actually not serving our highest good, that they're actually in some way keeping us from being our true authentic self. Like maybe we thought we really wanted one thing, but deep down we really want another thing. Maybe we're going along with the crowd or doing something like that to fit in. When we do that, we're not being true to ourselves. We're not being ourselves. We're trying to fit in and belong. And so we have to be careful, because we can easily identify with something and take on something. I know one of the things, that, and I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos, I had this whole reinventing myself thing that happened when my kids moved out. When I found myself alone for the first time in my life. I mean, really alone, because I always had family or spouses or children or something, around, or in my life that was living with me. I always had people around, and I got so used to taking care of other people or providing for other people that I didn't know who I was when everybody left, and I had no one to to care for, no one to do things for. I was like, well, what do I do now? I felt I had all this empty time on my hand. But I digress. I kind of got off track there, and I don't want to make this reading too long, because that was a little bit off track from what this reading is. So I need to pull it back in and go back on track here and back on focus. So in the third position, this is the position that is what is internal, that's driving you or pushing you to do what it is. Like whatever this mask is, it's like the driving factor behind it. So as we said, we have the mask position first, and that kind of sets the stage. The second card, or the second position, is what externally is telling us, what we need to work on, what's being reflected back to us from the external world, the lessons that we need to learn. It's the repeating pattern, or showing us what we may be, what we may need to look at this time. Well, the third position is the flame. The flame position is what inside of us is pushing us to act in the way that we are acting? You know, what is that driving force behind it? And here we have, I believe this is the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is like one of the most impulsive cards in the deck. This is seriously impulsive. So this is somebody, you know, this is saying what's driving us, I'm really getting the strong fear of missing out. We're afraid we're going to miss out on something. I feel that's coming through really strongly. I feel like that's really the heart of the message here, and what the mask leads to is this there. And whenever we're afraid of missing out on something, it's because we're how do I want to explain this? Why does it want to stop channeling right then? Catch me in a loop, or catch me in a pause there. I think because I had it on the tip of my tongue and then it just kind of went. So with the Knight of Wands, it's impulsive energy, and then if we're in this impulsive energy and we have this fear of missing out on something, when we're afraid of missing out on something, we're afraid that we're not going to experience something. And if we're afraid we're not going to, it's still fear. Fear is always what drives us to do a lot of things. And so it is almost like maybe we don't feel, it's around time. Like whenever we fear we're going to miss out on something, it's almost like we have this belief. It's almost of scarcity, but it's also time. It's also afraid that that's never going to happen to us. You know, we're afraid that we're not going to get something, or we're not going to have, like, we might miss out. Yeah, I mean, fear of missing out on something. So we're afraid we're not going to have this experience. Like, but the one thing that, you know, I think some of that stems from having maybe a lack of faith. You know, one of the things that, you know, is if you watch a lot of tarot, or watch others, you know, or part of any kind of spiritual community, you know, one of the things about that's about faith is this belief that anything that's meant for you in this lifetime is not going to pass you by. You're going to be able to experience. If you're meant to experience something in this lifetime, you will experience it. It will come back, you know. But when we have this fear of missing out, it leads us to do things impulsively that we possibly wouldn't have done otherwise. It pushes us out of character. It makes us do something in the moment because of that fear that something's going to go away, that it's not always available to us. That's where I was getting. I felt there's a scarcity to this, and so that's where the scarcity is. It's about thinking that this opportunity, or whatever this is, whatever the thing is that you're possibly wanting to be impulsive about, is that opportunity is never going to come around again. And what I say to that is, if it doesn't come around again, then it wasn't meant for you to experience. So there's a piece in that, you know, there's a piece in that. And again, this is my belief. It doesn't have to be your belief. This is what, you know, part of what I'm doing these readings for is to make you think, you know, to make you do that evaluation, that self-reflection of, you know, like the things, the topics and the themes I'm bringing up, and sit there and consider, you know, is this a belief that I need to adopt, or is that not for me? And your intuition will tell you, you know, don't, you know, even me, take what I say with a grain of salt, because this is my experiences that I'm sharing, and my, the way I look and view and see the world. And it doesn't mean it has to be the way you need to look and view and see the world. It's all about just helping you reflect on some of these topics and think about them, so that you can make that judgment call and that evaluation for yourself of whether, like you need to change something or not, whether it's serving you or not. So get this. So what comes out to clarify the Knight of Wands? Mischief. Oh. So funny enough, so I have a friend, and I'm a big video gamer, online video gamer. If you don't know that, now you know that about me. Big gamer. So somebody that I know, they go by the tag Demon Mishira. And that person is has a lot of trickster energy about her. She likes to do a lot of pranks, especially in games and stuff. And so when I seen this card, when it came out, it was her energy. I saw her energy, and she does a lot of very fun, like she does things in the moment, like she likes to really joke around and have a lot of fun. And we go back to, joking around and having a lot of fun and having a good time. But sometimes we use jokes and we use laughter, and we use that as a deflection mechanism to basically deflect from our feelings, or having to feel feelings that we're trying not to feel. So sometimes we do things, and if this is you, don't be hard on yourself, because there's lots of people that do that. We all find ways to cope, and it's just one way of coping with things is by, humor or deflecting, from our emotions in some way, so that we don't have to feel them, or we don't have to think about them even. So there could be something in that message there about, with the fear of missing out, that maybe there's also a few of you that are maybe doing something impulsive because you're not wanting to feel emotions. You're trying to escape or run. Ooh, yeah. She's running. Maybe you're running away from your emotions. Maybe you're getting involved in things and doing things impulsively because you're trying to escape your emotions and run away from them and not feel them. You don't want to be in your head. You don't want to be thinking about those things. So there's this deflection of escapism, running away. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm getting chills and goosebumps. I hit on the heart of the message. I love that. So we go back to this original card, and I talked about yesterday was all about somebody. It was the same card in the same position, but it was about somebody, like with all the cards around it was about somebody who was stuck in the familiar and afraid of taking a risk. Well, today it's like taking a risk because you don't want to have to sit with your feelings. You don't want to have to feel something. You don't want to have to, which really is about being grounded and being stable, because to be grounded and stable, we have to sit in our emotional truth. We have to feel those feelings to be able to really understand who we are as a person. And really, we have to feel those feelings. And if we're not working through them, if we're not feeling them, and we're not allowing ourselves to feel them and process those feelings and transmute them, they're gonna come out in weird, funky ways, because our protection mechanisms that we put in place to cope, that comes out as these masks. And so I feel like I really hit the heart of the message here, that today's message is really about someone who might be, and this may be you, you, it may not be you, but I feel like for most of the people, the message wants to come out very strongly as someone who might be deflecting their emotions at this time, finding ways to escape, feeling like they're going to miss out on something if they don't act right now. But that impulsivity is that running or trying to escape something else because we don't want to maybe we're trying to escape life. Maybe life is difficult, and we did kind of touched on that a little bit with this temperance card of what's being mirrored back to us. What's being mirrored back to us at this time is this need for peace, this need for grounding, this need for patience, this need for, balancing something out, being a little more grounded, being a little more stable. The Four of Wands typically is about being stable, being a little bit more emotionally grounded at this time, not trying to escape our emotions is what I really feel here. So we'll go ahead and move forward, and the next position, the fourth position is all about our boundaries, what boundaries we should be putting in place at this time, or basically what we should say no to, what is distracting us, what is draining our energy. Well, look at this. This guy looks like he's either surfboarding or he's riding on a skateboard, but both of those things are very high energy, very high intensive sports that can be dangerous, can be very risky. So again, we have this theme of fast movement, running away, avoiding something, but also this risk. We have this risk coming out again with the Knight of Wands is a huge risk taker. Very, so all these cards of risk, of impulsivity, of fast movement, of wanting to jump on something and take action. So with that being in our boundary position, it's saying, hold your horses, mister. This isn't a good time to be impulsive. So what we're supposed to say no to is don't maybe not distract yourself at this time. Maybe not, jump and go do something, because maybe this is like you decide, especially with this mischief card, maybe you're going to get in a little bit of trouble, so maybe this is, for some of you, this could be a little foreshadowing of, maybe this isn't the best time to jump on something, or go, maybe go join your friends on something because you're afraid to miss out, but it may lead to something that could cause you some trouble, in the long run. It could backfire on you in some way or somehow, because because I'm also, it can be, the picture I got in my head is like, someone selling you a bridge, somewhere that doesn't exist, or a piece of land or something that doesn't exist, Ponzi schemes and things like that. I'm getting this, these are what's popping up into my head, that you might jump or do something without your due diligence of really getting all the facts, or not coming from a stable place, an emotional stable place. Because if you think even in relationships, what do they say about rebound relationships? You get out of one relationship and you rebound into another, and that one always fails. That next relationship always fails. And why does it fail? Because you haven't dealt with and processed whatever you went through in the last relationship. You're carrying all that baggage with you into this next relationship, but then expecting it to work out, expecting it to be good. Well, you never dealt with the problems that occurred in the last relationship. You never dealt with those. You never felt through them, or examined and learned the lessons that you need to learn to do something differently. And that's why rebound relationships almost never work. So, but it's that kind of, this is what's coming through on this boundary position. is that there's this need to say, to really, if you have the urge to do something, to act on something, like maybe somebody says, hey, let's go do this weekend, and like, hey, let's go take this trip out of town somewhere. Hey, let's go to Vegas for the weekend. Well, what stays in Vegas, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's that kind of energy that's coming through. Like, maybe it's not the best idea. Like, what if, out of the blue, you get offered a job and you haven't like researched the company, you haven't thought through, what that might mean to you, or what it may entail, but you're so antsy to get out of the situation you're in, you're just willing to just jump on the first thing that comes along, and then it may not work out in your benefit, is what I feel like's kind of the mess, like kind of a little bit of what's coming through here. So there's this need to be really patient. What is this card? Mind that monkey brain. I bet that's monkey brain. I'm going to have to look it up in the deck because I'm curious, because I feel like this is monkey brain, but we'll see. And funny enough, like monkey brain, fast moving energy. And I also talked about not wanting to be in our head. That came through too. Where's my book? There's my book. What card is this? 27. So 27 might be of a significance to you. It could be, that could be your birth date. It could be 9 could be significant for you. You could be 27 years old. I don't know if those numbers resonate with you. I don't know. I typically don't do numbers like that, so it must have been a sign for somebody for me to read it out like that. So we have, monkey mind. Oh my gosh, it actually says monkey mind. I had a feeling that's what it was. Yeah, monkey mind. Monkey mind is part of your psyche that can turn your enthusiasm and bravery upside down. That is literally everything I've been talking about here. He is the trickster. We had the card of mischief, the trickster, that chants words of not enoughness in our ears. Okay, so there we have the underlying problem, or underlying what's driving this mask is if it may possibly a feeling of not enoughness in your ears. He says your gifts and your talents will never be enough. Your ideas and your plans are a waste of your time. You won't amount to anything. If you dare to act on your bravest dreams, he is the one accusing you of being a fraud and an imposter. Like an intimidating parent or a disapproving teacher, all he has to do is cast a glance at your creative spark and you shrink, convinced you'll never be enough. So you hide your gifts, or worse, refuse to develop them. Suffer his tricks too long and your creativity drowns in doubt. You're being invited now to question your thoughts and search for your monkey mind in their midst. Are you listening to thoughts that match your true sparkling nature, or ones that pull your sparkle down into the depths of lostness? Only you can choose whom to listen to. Isn't that perfectly fitting? Oh my gosh, I'm like I have so many goosebumps right now through this reading. It's so insane. I love when this stuff happens. So monkey mind. So where is your mind getting the best of you? Where is it talking you out of being the person you're meant to be? What is it convincing you of right now that it's that's holding you back and keeping you from doing what it is you should be doing, what you should be focusing on at this time? Maybe you have a gift that you're supposed to share with the world, like I'm sharing these, doing these readings. Maybe you have a gift and you've talked yourself out of doing it. Maybe there's something that has your soul has been pushing you and urging you to do that you really feel. And we go back to feelings. There's something you're feeling you need to do, but you might not want to be doing it for whatever reason. You're talking yourself out of it. You're keeping yourself you might be, especially with this reading, distracting yourself from listening to that, because maybe you don't want to feel like, maybe it does, when you think about doing these things, it makes you feel small in some way. Maybe you're feeling guilt and shame. Maybe it talks you into and convinces you that there's something wrong with you, when really there's not anything wrong with you. You've just told yourself there is. And so to distract yourself from feeling like you're not authentic, or feeling like you can't be yourself, or whatever that is. What was that? How did that put it again? I liked how it worded it. Are you listening to thoughts that match your true sparkling nature, or ones that pull your sparkle down into the depths of lostness? You can choose. So are you suffering from the tricks of the monkey mind, from the trickster? Are you allowing this self-talk inside of you to make you feel like you're an imposter and having this imposter syndrome? Or maybe, and that sometimes can cause us to go along with the crowd, or cause us to act in certain ways, and maybe that's that, it can lead to that fear of missing out too, because it did talk about feeling like you're not enough in some way, and that fear of missing out is not feeling secure enough in yourself as a person, to feel like something's going to pass you by, that you need to jump on that train, when it may not be your train, because you haven't taken the time to really figure out who you are. So you're jumping on every train maybe, and going in every direction, because you don't know what train is your train. But then you might end up in the wrong destination because you've jumped on the wrong train. And that's kind of a little bit what's coming through here, of saying, no, we have to be cautious, that our monkey mind is not getting the best of us. And I like that it's on the Eight of Wands, because sometimes Eight of Wands can be this like fast communication, but it's fast action, fast energy, something happening really fast. And so our monkey mind may be getting in the way here, but when this comes out in the boundary positions, like, in this position of the boundary position, what we need to say no to, we really need to, it all comes back to taking time to sit with something and understand, is there something that you need to think through, that you need to think of in a different way, or see things in a different way, or be a little more patient about. I feel like there's something, like I'm pausing because I keep feeling like there's something I need to say, but it's not coming out. So I don't know what that is. Maybe it'll come out eventually. So I have death and protection that I just drew out. Again, we have these, look at that, more fire energy, more impulsivity, but look at this, it's protection. And what did I say? Like, I feel like a lot about this mask it is about protection in a way, because I feel like it's deflection. It's really being impulsive and doing things almost to distract yourself, because you don't want to sit with something, you don't want to feel something, you don't want to sit with something, you don't want to think about something. And I think that's what's coming through here strongly. And so we have the death here, putting an end to the monkey mind, putting an end to the impulsivity, because there's something that we're not seeing correctly, that we're protecting ourselves in some way from something that needs to end. This behavior needs to end, or we need to take a pause from it, is kind of what it's telling me. It's time to really and that's why it's coming through, is it's a time to evaluate this. You know, is this something you're doing? Is this something you're doing in your life? Do you have monkey mind? Does your mind tell you you're not good enough, that you're an imposter, that, that you can't do things, or that you can't experience things? And so whenever you get opportunities, you jump on them, or you use them as a distraction. They could be validation too. You might be, jumping on things or going along with the crowd to fit in or you want that validation because there's something inside of you that feels like you're not good enough. And so you might be somebody that seeks external validation. I mean, these themes are going to come up. The same themes are going to kind of come up in a lot of the readings, because it all comes down to like a handful of underlying beliefs that drive a lot of our fears. They just kind of manifest out into the world in different ways. And so I'm kind of trying to touch on a lot of those ways it can show up, and I may not get all of them, but if it comes through the reading, it comes through the reading because it was meant to during this reading for somebody to hear along with this mask, because you're going to click on the reading and you're here because the title drew you into the reading because of whatever I named the title. And so you're here for a reason, and there's messages, whatever comes out in the reading, there's something here meant for you to hear. So we have in the fifth position, we have the wave. This is the wave, which is the Queen of Pentacles in this position today. And the wave is all about our emotional truth that needs to be felt at this time. So I feel like with the Queen of Pentacles being here, it's saying, what do you need to nurture within yourself? What do you need to, where in your life do you need to create more stability? Where are you feeling that sense of lack or feeling not enough? Or where is your monkey mind telling you that you're an imposter or that you can't do something? Or where are you being your own worst critic, so to speak? And putting yourself, maybe mentally putting yourself down, not allowing yourself, where are you not allowing yourself to really be who you want to be or do the things that you want to do? What's holding you back? What's keeping you from doing those? What is maybe driving you, to maybe seek maybe surface level things, or fun, excitement, entertainment, because this is somebody, the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who isn't chasing things, isn't going out. They're very grounded. They have a lot because they've taken the time to nurture and cultivate a sense of security in their life and about themselves. And so this is telling me, with it being in the position of what emotional truth needs to be felt, is really sitting with and thinking about these ways in which you might be in your life, either distracting yourself from something you need to feel, maybe, or a truth that wants to come through at this time of the negative stories that you're telling yourself. Maybe you're somebody that's afraid to sit with those emotions because you're afraid of what you'll see, and that kind of scares you a little bit. So that's definitely someone that tends to run from their problems, or run from challenges, or run because they don't want to face something. Because when they face something, they know that they're going to have to they're going to have to feel those emotions. They're going to have to really understand what is driving those feelings within inside them. It's wanting to come to the surface, but instead of looking at them and really sitting with them, avoidance will avoid those feelings because they don't want to look at something. Because a lot of times it could be their minds are their own worst enemy, so to speak. I mean, I know I'm totally guilty of monkey mind at times. I am totally, I can be my worst critic. You have no idea how long it took me to get to the position where I could do these readings for y'all. I would have never, probably 6-7 years ago, you would have never seen me do something like this. I would have never been secure and comfortable enough of putting myself on camera, putting myself out in the world, where I could be criticized and judged. But now I'm like totally comfortable with it. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of work on my part of working and sitting with a lot of stuff and asking myself a lot of questions. And I got through all that. I knew it was something that I had a lack of confidence that was in myself, a lack of belief in myself, a lack of confidence in myself that was undermining a lot of what I was doing in my life. And once I healed that, once I fixed, sat with it, understood, really got to the root of the problem and understand what was holding me back, and I came to terms with that. Well, here I am, and I'm out here trying to help people. And I'm kind of what's the word I'm looking for? An example, I guess, that you can overcome some of these challenges if you really want to do the work, but you have to want to do the work. And I want to do, isn't this funny? Before I do this, intellect came out. It's like almost, this isn't monkey mind, but our intellect, and we have all these tentacles, and how it can wrap around something. Our mind can wrap us around an ideal or a thought, and it can get the best of us, and it can keep us from finding this security, the stability in our lives at times. I want to share with you right now, because I haven't yet this reading. If you've hang on this long, thank you. But I have a book that I wrote. It's called We Are Not What We've Been Taught. This book, it's not light reading. It really is. It goes into, it explains some of the different masks and give you an idea of what they are. And then it gives you a lot of deep probing questions to ask yourself, so that you can sit there and think through some of the things that maybe you do or don't do. And it's all about evaluating those things so that you can determine whether they are really, the behaviors you're doing, or the way you're acting and the things you're doing are actually true to you or not true to you. Is it really your own mind getting the best of you? Because sometimes our pride and our ego, which is our mind, gets the best of us and overtakes our heart and soul. So there's this need for finding balance, temperance, finding balance and grounding out the mind energy, because we talked about that at the beginning. Is, if we're not grounded, sometimes when we're in our mind too much, we can be not grounded enough, that's what temperance is all about, is finding that balance and striking balance between things. And part of that is striking the balance between the head and the heart. So let's go ahead and go into our final position, because it seems like no matter what, I can't get these readings to be shorter than about an hour, but maybe it will happen in the future. So in the final position, is our permission position. It's all about, this is kind of a little bit of the rest of the story, or what we should be saying yes to at this time, what, kind of a little bit of advice or a guidance, so to speak, of what we're not allowing ourselves to do at this time. And I feel like, interesting enough, this is the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, in this instance, I am strongly getting, if you look at this woman, I see somebody that is jumping over hurdles, like she's overcoming something. She's trying to be victorious over something and overcome an obstacle, is what I'm getting, and very strongly from this card. And so I feel like that's the advice, the thing we should be saying yes to, everything kind of has led to to this and the culmination of this in this reading is really allowing ourselves to overcome something that's holding us back, sitting with it, sitting with those emotions, sitting with those feelings, grounding ourselves more, trying to get out of our mind so that we can be more at peace with ourselves or within our body, so that we can actually sit with some of these feelings or sit with some of the thoughts that we maybe are having at this time that is keeping us back and holding us back from our truest self, our best potential, being our authentic self. And we go back to, be yourself. But you can't truly be yourself until you know who you are. And sometimes we have learned things in life that has conditioned us that isn't necessarily who we really are. We think it is because we've believed something. Kind of told a story about that. I think it was yesterday, around commitment, and how that one person telling me, saying what commitment was, reframing it in a different way. And that's what, if you've ever gone to therapy, I have very little, because I'm not going to say that. That's not a positive thing to say, so we're not going to say that. So I have only been a few times, but one of the big things, but I am funny enough, I am certified in a few different types of therapy practices or certifications. So that I do have the ability to perform or do a couple different techniques. That's what I was looking for, therapy techniques. But it really is, one of the big things now is about reframing things. Which is all that is seeing things from a different perspective, seeing things in a different way than you had before. It's thinking outside of the box and thinking creatively about something to find a solution that helps lift you up versus hindering you. So if you're someone who maybe, does self-criticize yourself or put yourself down or have negative self-talk, or if you're someone that is afraid of feeling certain emotions because you're afraid of what you'll find or what you'll confront, if you sit with those emotions, it really is like overcoming something like that, but doing it, maybe there's this need to reframe, how you look at something, like I did with commitment, where somebody says one thing and it was like, oh, well, I never thought of it that way, and so the universe is kind of giving you the opportunity right now through this message of sitting through this reading of this is the opportune time, instead of maybe distracting yourself or active impulsively or doing something because you fear you're going to miss out on it. Take a moment to deal with or confront whatever it is that is causing you to impulsively do something that maybe you shouldn't be doing. Maybe there's lots of things, like maybe going out to a bar and with friends and getting drunk. Maybe you're someone that has a hard time saying no to people. You don't have good boundaries. Maybe you're someone when you go along with the crowd, so you want to fit in, and so like going out for a night and drinking, maybe you'll have too many, where it'll lead. That'll lead to maybe having too many drinks or doing things that would be out of character for you, because you don't normally act that way. You don't normally do those things, but you're doing it because you're around other people. And so there's those kind of messages here too that are kind of coming through. It's not going to be for everyone, but that's where the work comes in, where you have to kind of sit, as I said, the universe is asking you to sit with yourself and understand what's driving that, what's driving that behavior, where's it coming from and what's driving it. I'm going to go ahead and pull one more oracle card and then we'll call it a day. So, listen to the music of your soul. Yeah, I couldn't. So number 19, and funny enough, that actually resonates with something for me. But So listen to the music of your soul. And what did I just say? And this is coming out to clarify the Seven of Wands, which I said there's this need to hold back at this time, to overcome, to think about something and overcome something. And so this is, everything about this reading was saying there's this need to get in touch with your soul, to really listen to your soul at this time. Listen to what it's telling you. Listen to what your inner guidance and your inner wisdom is telling you at this time. What is it telling you that you need for yourself? What do you really want and what do you really need? And then what is stopping you or hindering you or keeping you from doing that thing? Is there emotion? Are you feeling shame? Are you feeling guilt? Are you feeling regret? Why are you feeling those things? A lot of times when we feel guilt and shame and regret, we have a hard time forgiving ourselves for whatever behavior or whatever thing that we did that made us, which we did those things out of a reaction usually out of fear. We've done it because of something underlying. So that's where this work comes in, where we have to really kind of dig deep inside of us and unravel the yarn, the tangled web that we've created, the illusions. I'm going to probably keep pulling that up, but the illusions, the falsehoods that we've created, the stories that we've told ourselves with our monkey mind, that we've told ourselves these stories. And so that's where the mind, the pride and the ego can get away. That's what get in the way. And that's why some people can be very prideful and stubborn and because they're very stuck. And I in some ways, I almost feel sorry for people when I see them stuck in their pride and ego, because I know that's coming from a place of wounding that hasn't been healed. But at the same time, I can also be compassionate about it, and I can understand, because I definitely am known to get, I've definitely been there, and I've been somebody that's definitely gotten stuck on something where I want my way, or I want to do it this way, or I'm pout or whatever behavior comes out. That's because I'm triggered in some way, because there's something I haven't healed that needed to be addressed, that I needed to look at. But once you start really unraveling those things and you start digging down, and that's what my book is great for, really helping you, walking you through, taking you through the story, of unraveling these things, like kind of like we did here, where we have to be aware and understand what the problem is, so that once we're aware of it, then we have to trace it back and say, okay, why am I doing this? What is fueling it? What is fueling me to do this thing or act in this way? And then we have to go back to, well, why? Why am I doing these things? And once we understand why, then we can start unraveling, well, when did I start thinking this is the way I need to react to something? Or what is keeping me, what is it, a story I've told myself? Is it something else somebody else has said to me that's made me believe this, that this is the way I need to be, or this is the way I need to react in this specific situation? And once you understand all that, once you really understand why you do what you do, then you have the power to change it, because then you can really say, well, it's as simple as saying, this is stupid, or this is something, why, I understand. You can have compassion for yourself, and you can forgive yourself, because you can say, you can sit there and say, well, I allowed myself to believe this about myself because somebody, maybe a parent or a friend or somebody said this about me, and I took it on as my own. I made it my identity. I took it in and took it personally, and I allowed it to become a part of me. And I chose to take it on, so therefore I can take it off. And so sometimes we've taken on these things just because of experiences we've had as a child. And so it really is saying, really tell your adult self, telling your child self, you know, I understand, being compassionate with yourself and say, you know, I understand how that helped me when I was growing up and while I was a child. It did help me, like especially in high school. We can really learn to behave in certain ways because of the way we're treated by other people. And so, but we can say, okay, well, that helped me in that situation, but I'm stronger and better and more equipped now that I don't need to act in that way anymore, because I have more knowledge and more wisdom, and I can choose to act and react in the way I choose to react, because I'm a grown adult now, and yeah, maybe that served me to get through grade school or high school or whatever, but I don't need to act that way anymore, and I choose not to. And it can be as simple as that. But you have to understand the problem first. You have to understand the root of the problem and be aware of it before you can change it. And so that's what I'm hoping to help people do, is bring up things to make them aware of it, so then they start asking those questions to get to the heart of the matter, to really understand what drives their behavior, so that way when they understand what is driving their behavior, they can do something about it. And I'm wanting, and through that, empowering people out there. I want to empower you folks out there, those that come to my video or my channel. I want to empower you and give you the power to really change your life and to really be the person that you want to be, the true person that you want to be, where you're making your decisions not out of a place of fear, not out of a place of reaction or triggers because of experiences you've had in your past, but really because you truly choose to do those things because you want to do those things, so you feel good about the actions you take, you feel good about yourself, you feel confident in the decisions you're making, you feel confident and feel good about what you're doing in your life. That's what I'm hoping here. That's what this channel's all about, is to help empower you in that way. So I hope you'll stay. I hope you'll hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and join me as I continue to do these readings for you. Thank you so much. I wish you the best, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.